Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode. We're going to be talking about Star Wars Celebration news, which was this past weekend. Lots of big stuff to talk about there. We've also all seen Ben Affleck's new film, Air. We're going to discuss that a little bit as well. All of that and more coming up right now on Flicker Effect, episode 439.
Hey, look who's in the house with us. Michelle, welcome back. It's been a while.
Hello.
and not too soon either, because we've got actually a lot to discuss. There's been a lot of stuff going on within the last week. And one thing that's right up our alley, which I actually see in the background of your picture shot, David, was a little baby over your shoulder, your left shoulder. Yeah. Some Star Wars celebration happened over the weekend. Last weekend. Was it last week? Gosh, it feels like it's been at least a couple weeks, but I guess it was just last weekend, right?
Yeah, we can just pass.
It feels like it's been a while, but
that's
because
so crazy.
This week has been the longest week in history.
Yeah.
Seriously, yeah. So many announcements for so many things, and man, celebration. I think going into it, I really didn't know in terms of what to expect, just because, David, we had talked about it as well, that there's been such a lot of turmoil behind the scenes in terms of what we get in with Kathleen Kennedy and the leadership there at Lucasfilm. And so it was one of those things where, well, whatever they announce will actually end up coming out. And we did get some announcements. We actually got three announcements, announcements for three different movies. And let me see if I can go to where I pulled those up so I can talk about them just a little bit. First one, let's see. There is one that's being done by Obey Chinoy that's going to reintroduce Jedi Master Rey Skywalker, with Daisy Ridley returning to the fold. And it's about her rebuilding the Jedi Order in a new film. So let's start there. Is a good place to start.
There's already rumors
I'll
on that.
kick that off. Yeah, there have been rumors of that. And there was like sometime last, I don't know if it was last year. I suppose it was last year, where we had heard that Daisy Ridley had visited Lucasfilm or something, and there was rumors. And I think she downplayed the fact that she was there. And she's like, "Oh, I just meet with those guys and talk."
We just hang out and have cocktails every now and then.
No, we're not buying that. But
Yeah.
so it was announced that she is going to have a movie with the Jedi Order. Now, I suspect, and I don't know this, but I suspect that was the one that Lindelof was working on in terms of the writing, and then he was left. Yeah, and so now it's being finished developed and everything. I have no problem with seeing Rey Skywalker again. I'll say that. However, based on just how the relationship is around her outside of that with fandom, makes me not excited that they went in this direction, just because it's like I have to get set for a whole bunch of noise in the background in terms of whatever comes out, whether it's good or bad, it's going to be divisive. And it's like, really? That was the movie you guys wanted to start almost, kick off everything with, that we're going to get right back into the muck of things, it feels like. So, I don't know. This announcement specifically for this movie kind of left me scratching my head, to be honest. I just don't know why they would want to test those waters again in that way. But I'm curious, Michelle, what did you think when you heard about at least this first movie that they have planned?
I mean, to be clear, for whatever issues I have with the last 3 films, I have no issues with Daisy Ridley, and I definitely have no issues with her returning as Rey. So for me, I was kind of like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, unfortunately, there's a section of the fandom that been drinking the haterade, and they will probably continue to do so, unfortunately. I think this movie could be really interesting and enjoyable. And I think it would kind of give us a little more depth kind of into the future with Star Wars, which is kind of nice. But yeah, they have other good projects that I know are coming down the pipeline. So I'm surprised that this one's first. All I can think is maybe it's because they want to capture Daisy at a certain age, or because of her own filming schedules, or because of future projects she's already tied to even further down. Who knows? Like, it could be a plethora of things. They could just be ready to start going on this. I don't know, but I'm happy about this. So.
You seem almost like you're hesitant to say you're happy about it.
Well, because I know, like what Bobby was saying, there's a lot of people that are like, they're already cranky about it. And I'm like, I don't really know why. It seems like it's interesting. I don't know that much about that time frame of Star Wars.
Right.
Continued story.
Well,
nobody does. I think it's interesting.
I do kind of wonder, before David, you give your thoughts. In terms of what the phrasing is for what we're supposed to expect from that, and it says that starting the Jedi Order, and it's 15 years after. It seems like it makes me wonder what she's been doing for 15 years that she's only just now starting it. It seems like I would feel
training,
not more comfortable, but maybe if she was already within the midst of it a little bit, like a couple years into having the Jedi Order started, that would feel a little bit more. I don't know. What do you think, David?
I mean, when it comes to some of the quotes we've heard from Celebration as to what each of these movies is about, like for instance, I mean. You're saying that they said she's starting the Jedi Order. I mean, I think the way I interpreted it, or I don't know what I read, was that she's at least trying to get the Jedi or Force users that are around to really get together, because maybe she's been trying, and it's just they're all just still kind of not all in one.
Too young or afraid, or yeah.
I don't know. I get the impression this isn't just hey, it's been 15 years, let's start the Jedi Order now. It has been something maybe she's been working on, and she's been having problems, or I don't know. What do I know? That's at least the impression I got.
Yeah, we don't have a lot to go off of.
No.
So, yeah. No. But in general, though, were you happy with this announcement, or were you kind of
without jumping into the other 2 movie announcements, which we'll get to in a second, I will say this is probably the one I'm least excited about, but at the same time, there's the part of me that is happy that they are making a film in an era of this world that they have truly a clean slate with. They can really do anything they want. And I'm all for exploring the future and not just jumping in the past to Old Republic stuff, or stuff during the Rebellion that we've already seen, or stuff during the New Republic. I like the idea of also doing something completely new. I like the idea of this movie possibly doing what it can to save what they screwed up with the trilogy they made. I don't know that it can do that. I'm not saying this movie is going to make those movies any better, but I like Daisy Ridley. I like that character Rey. I like Rey. I would like to see it would be great to see a really great movie if that's what we get. Obviously that's what we all hope for, no matter what it is, right? But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't hate the idea. Part of me is with you, Bobby. There's scratch my head a little at this decision, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm open to it. I don't hate it. It's kind of where I am. It's not the thing I'm most excited about, but it could be worse.
I'm keeping an open mind about it. So I think that it's just really going to come down to the exact story that they are really trying to tell there, and see how it goes from there.
Of course, I'm super curious why, like, David Lindelof and I think whoever he was working with wrote a treatment or whatever, and then it just got like denied. I'm super curious about the development of this.
Yeah.
What is going on here? But
you know, at some point in time, you just have to figure that someone is going to write an unauthorized book of the reign of Kathleen Kennedy's time at Lucasfilm, and that should be a pretty juicy book, I think.
Right.
So one of the other movies, the second movie we'll talk about that got announced was one from James Mangold, who is doing the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny movie. And so I guess maybe they liked what they saw with that movie enough to give him a film as well. And his is supposed to be, and correct me, David, if you have any additional information, but it says that where I see in the timeline, it will be the dawn of the Jedi, 25,000 years before the events of the Skywalker films, and the time of the new Jedi Order is 15 years after the rise of the Republic. But with his movie, 25,000 years, this would be, and I don't know if you have a graphic of it, but they had presented a timeline of where movies will typically fall into based on this timeline. So this would be in their Old Republic time frame in terms of movies. And that one was definitely an exciting announcement for me because it is James Mangold, and he's been doing fantastic movies, and I'm really anxious and hopeful for the new Indiana Jones movie to be really great as well, and to see what he does there. So I know he's a fantastic storyteller. He's also going to be doing James Gunn's Swamp Thing for DC. So he's definitely going to bring something really good, and for them to go that far back. Again, sort of like what you said, David, where the Skywalker, the Rey's movie in the future, 15 years in the future of Star Wars, there's sort of a clean slate there. Well, going this far back, there's sort of a reverse clean slate in the sense that they don't have to be beholden to anything that happens during the Skywalker time frame, because it's 25,000 years in the past. So, and it's about within that formation of the Jedi, which that fascinates me and it makes me so curious. And I haven't seen, once again, I haven't seen this said anywhere specifically, but I do have to wonder if this was what Benioff and Weiss was working on initially, because they were supposed to be doing a movie in regards to the Jedi formation, the first Jedi kind of thing. So Kathleen Kennedy did make she did an interview where she had mentioned that none of the projects we had heard about are dead. They're just in a different area of development, basically.
Right.
Yeah. So this could be this reforming and coming back and reshaping. And she made it sound like this had been sort of in the works for a while. So I don't know in that sense. This could have been the Benioff and Weiss thing that had been in the works for a while, but then didn't work out. And then James Mangold came in and started to do his thing with it as well. So this one I was definitely excited for. How'd you feel when you heard it?
Well, first, when it comes to the timeline thing, because this is something I've seen a couple videos like on YouTube of other people talking about this, and I feel like everyone's. I mean, what do I know? But I feel like everyone's getting this wrong. Like, for instance, I can look at the timeline right now that you were talking about, but I can't bring it up here on the stream. I could, but it wouldn't look great. But really, I know you mentioned, I think, that this falls in the Old Republic. I mean, my understanding is this doesn't fall in the Old Republic part of that timeline. It falls in the Dawn of the Jedi part. Like, he said that this is 25,000 years BBY, right? 25,000 years before A New Hope.
Yeah.
And I think he did specifically say, like, this is like, he almost described it as like a biblical kind of epic of when basically the Jedi were born. Like, people first started using the Force, I guess. Like, you know, I looked at a timeline based off of, I guess, current, like, Star Wars. I don't know if it's considered canon or legend material or what. I mean, 25,000 BBY is also, like, when the Republic was first formed, apparently. But I mean, the stuff like when people talk about the Old Republic, that was like between 3,000 and 4,000 BBY. Like,
this is old.
This is way before that.
Way old.
Yeah. I see it now, and it did say it in the title when I was reading it. I just forgot that was an actual timeline part as well. I thought it stopped at the Old Republic. So yeah.
No, because I've seen other like major outlets being like, yeah, I can't wait for this Old Republic film he's making, and I want to see Darth Revan and all this stuff, and I'm like, no, I don't. He's not doing
older than that, man.
Like, so this one I'm mixed on too, and in one sense, I'm the most excited about this one because I like James Mangold. I like that this is going so far back in time that, like you just said, it's also basically a clean slate. But then I also have to like. With the almost no information we have, I mean, from my perspective, I'm like, how Star Wars is this gonna even feel? Like this is so far back. I mean, yeah, people are gonna be, I guess, learning how to use the Force or whatever, but I just, from my perspective as a Star Wars fan and what I think of, like, what I want out of a Star Wars movie, it's hard for me to imagine how this will feel like Star Wars and what it'll be like. Now, with that said, it could be fantastic. I'm not writing it off, you know, immediately. I just have so many questions, I think, like everyone. So in one sense, I am the most excited actually about this compared to the 3 films we learned about, but it's also like what's like, I mean, I would have, you know, the Benioff and Weiss thing apparently was an Old Republic thing, and I'm still hopeful that I'm sure one day we'll get some type of Old Republic film, and I mean, if that was what he was doing, I would be like, oh my God, this is going to be fantastic. I would be all in. But not to say I'm not, but I think you get what I'm saying. That's kind of where I am on this
one. That, you know, I guess I hadn't really thought too deeply into it. But when you think about it, 25,000 years is such a long time, even by Star Wars standards, because it already takes place a long time ago. So at that point in Star Wars universe history, I mean, would there even be starships? Like, would it just be planet based around some?
Right. I mean, you would think so, but then like I said, when I read, like, according to like Wikipedia anyway, you know, the Republic was formed, at least in the core worlds. The Republic was first born in 25,000 BBY, so you would think they must be able to.
There was some interplanetary traveling, just
I mean, it
maybe not light speed, but you know.
I mean, it does seem like in general in the Star Wars universe, like, development of technology seems like relatively slow compared to like what we experience now. I mean, obviously things are very advanced in the world of Star Wars, right? But you know what I mean? Like, we can jump back to the High Republic, which is a long time ago, right? Or like Old Republic, which is a long time ago, but it does seem like there's still quite a bit of technology
like 200 years ago.
Then you think of what we see in the current era of Star Wars, and it's like,
they haven't advanced from the Old Republic to the current time frame that we're used to as quickly as our timeline and our life goes. Like, the technology is it's almost stalemated in a way.
So I would imagine
technological.
This film will feel pretty much more grounded, but at the same time, I mean, I guess people can travel between planets, I would think.
I was going to say, it sounds like at least interplanetary travel seems like it's doable. Maybe not different galaxies quite yet. Or, I mean, who knows? I mean, geez, like, I have no idea. All right, what about this third
who
movie?
knows?
Talk to me.
Yeah. I will say one thing I am hoping that at some point in time, Star Wars does for terms of progressing their future tech is having technology better than Hollows. I mean, at this point, it's just Hollows looks so silly at this point when you see him on. Yeah, so I would hope at some point they move past that.
It's like that. Hey, this is the technology we had when we made A New Hope, but we keep clinging to that look,
right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and that brings us to the third movie that they announced, which was from Dave Filoni, which is the architect of so many things within the Star Wars universe that we know of, like Clone Wars, and brought us Ahsoka as well, and has been running The Mandalorian with Jon Favreau. And his movie, it says, he will direct a new film set in the time period of The Mandalorian, culminating in the conflict between the Imperial Remnant and the New Republic. So this is something that we had kind of known about from, I believe it was like an investor's call that Kathleen Kennedy did a few years ago when they had announced some different Star Wars series that were going to come out, and one of them was I forget what it was called, but something of the New Republic that was going to be rumored, at least, supposed to have the Cara Dune character in it. And she had mentioned within that time frame that all of these Disney Plus series would culminate into a sort of an event series or something that she called it. I forget the exact wording, but this sounds like that, but now they've decided to do it into a movie and bring all of these different series, which would probably be Ahsoka, possibly Boba Fett. We already have Mandalorian mixed in there, and then maybe even something like, I don't know if there's any room for any of these new ones that they're announcing to be in there, but we at least know the ones that I just mentioned. So that one to me is like, it's weird. Because I think that if you had told me this about a year ago, my excitement would have been like super through the roof. But now hearing it, I'm like, well, I'm absolutely happy for Dave Filoni to get to direct a Star Wars movie, hands down. No doubts about it, or no doubt about it, because he has been so instrumental with Star Wars forever that it was about time that, well, I think he's finally gotten to the point where he's ready to do a movie. So I'm happy for him in that sense. And I'm happy that it's going to be him playing in a world that he already knows and it has a lot to do with already. But why it's not through the roof is because of some of what we've already had in terms of The Mandalorian this season, which has been, for all intents and purposes, uneven. I've enjoyed it still for the most part, but I would be lying if I said I thought it was at its peak right now. It's dipped for sure. So it leaves me kind of like, all right, well, I think it'll be good, and I'm hoping it'll be good, but we got to get the train moving a little bit better into that direction before I'll be super excited. And we have time, obviously, because this wouldn't come into at least probably 2026, I'd imagine, if not a little bit further out, because they might even try and do another season of Mandalorian before they get into the actual movie culmination thing. So, yeah, I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic and excited about this movie and the announcement. So, Michelle, how did you feel about this one?
I think I'm right there with you. Cautiously optimistic is a good way to put it, because I agree. I feel like at least this season of The Mandalorian is uneven, is a kinder way to put it, and we'll go with that right now. Yeah, I'd be curious to see how this film develops as the Star Wars, I don't know, corporate tree changes and evolves in the next coming year, months, 2 years. to see if this is still a project that is actually going to be going to fruition or not. I don't know. I think a lot can happen between now and then.
I'll go ahead and say.
David, what do you think?
Of the 3 films that were announced, this is the one I'm least excited about. Not because of Dave Filoni, kind of like you've already said, Bobby. Like, I think Dave Filoni's great. If it were up to me, he'd be running Lucasfilm, or at least whoever does run Lucasfilm next would basically make him you're the head of Star Wars, the Star Wars division of Lucasfilm, right?
Right.
Like, I would be more than happy with that. He does seem he does still seem to be the rightful kind of heir apparent to George Lucas, and I'm super happy he's directing a movie. When it comes to like him directing a movie in the New Republic, from the way it's been described, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it's going to, I guess you just said this, Bobby, or you read it, that it's going to be kind of the culmination of this conflict between the people we've been following in these shows on Disney Plus and the remnants of the Empire. And I guess I don't in general like the idea of, hey, we're doing all these stories on TV and then we're going to end it in movie theaters. Like, there's just something about that I'm like, I feel like let's just keep it on TV because that's where we're doing this. I say that, but I hope, and I know it's possible, I hope that this movie, even though it is kind of the culmination, the continuation of the story we've already been watching on TV, that it will also be done in a way that would feel like it's its own thing. Like, you could just watch it and have never seen Mandalorian, like, to an extent. And I think that's possible because Star Wars overall has been like that. Like, you jump into the New Hope and you're jumping into the middle of the story. It's, each episode of that Skywalker saga kind of feels like that. You're jumping into the middle of a battle and, it's not like it's an immediate continuation, or at least it didn't used to be until there were new movies. So I don't know if that makes sense, but there's just something about the idea of like, oh, we've been telling this whole story on Disney Plus and now we're going to jump to movie theaters and finish it there. That, I don't know. Like, I'm super happy he's making a movie, but I guess I wish he wasn't making this movie. So that's kind of where I am.
I don't disagree with that.
So I guess I'm on the other side of it. I like the idea that it's been serialized so far, but I do think that if that would signify the end of everything, I do want to see it in a movie because I think the budget will be bigger and it'll look better on a big screen.
For those reasons, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I think that's where I kind of go with it in terms of like, this is series that we followed for 3 seasons now, and what we'll get with Ahsoka and anything else that kind of ties in. It seems like it would be deserving of a big thing. And one of the other things that Kathleen had said, I don't know if it was quoted somewhere that I read it, but I think she had mentioned the idea of not necessarily announcing trilogies per se, but like we'll have a movie, and if the audience is receptive to it, then we'll do
keep
more.
Going, right?
Yeah, we'll keep going. So I wonder and kind of have a feeling if maybe this would be that in that sense, where we get this movie, but it may not be the only movie from this Filoni verse of movies or of his corner of the Star Wars universe. It could build into a second movie or a third kind of thing. It might not just be the end all be all there, or it could, for all we know, not completely tie up, but then jump back into some series that comes out of that movie that then goes into a second movie as a little bit more time passes. So don't really know, but I do think that it will really sort of hinder on how many people like you said, sort of, David, that we'll be following some of these Disney Plus shows to be able to then go and watch it in the theater, because obviously the majority of the people would be general audience, and so is that same general audience that's going to show up in the theater? Are they watching these series on Disney Plus, or is it going to be appealing enough on its own that people will say, "I'll check that out," without having seen all these different things on Disney Plus? So that's going to be tricky, and I'm maybe don't know exactly how they'll set their expectations for it because of that. But yeah, that was unless you guys have anything else, that was the 3 movies they announced. So.
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, so then moving from the movies, but still staying in line with what Dave Filoni is working on, we had a trailer for Ahsoka, her series coming out. And it follows the storyline from at least what you can see in the trailer, that Grand Admiral Thrawn it has returned, and there is going to be, from what we know of the episode in Mandalorian, she's looking for Ezra Bridger, who was a character in the show Rebels. And now Thrawn is back, but we in that trailer we only see sort of a hologram of Ezra. So we still don't know much about him, but we see a couple of I don't know if they're what you would call them, but they weren't Sith, but they were definitely dark Force users. And that was one was Ray Stevenson, and I forget the actress's name, but they looked imposing as well. And so, I don't know. I was very excited when I saw this trailer, just because, I mean, you're seeing lightsabers and dark force and light force. And so it seems like we're going to get something akin to a little bit more Andor-ish, in the sense that it plays a little bit more serious than some of the other ones that have been a little bit more towards the, I guess, more lighter side, for lack of a better term. So that's kind of like one of those things for me that makes it kind of exciting to see, just because it looks like it's going to give us more of that Star Wars feel of a movie, in a sense of where you've got the forces on the ground that aren't force sensitive at all, but then we also have Jedi in play in Ahsoka, and other characters as well that can wield the force. So I don't know. I've talked about this one enough. I think I'm excited, and I can't wait. What was the date on that? Let me see. Unless you know it offhand,
It's
David.
August. I don't remember the exact date.
I just don't remember. Okay, I don't think they gave an exact date, but yeah.
I saw somewhere that I thought they did give a date, but when you watch the trailer, it just says August.
Yeah.
But I swore I saw a date somewhere, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm only seeing August as well, but that's still a good time frame that we know that when that'll be coming out. So
some Wednesday in August.
Right, exactly. So we
I would prefer it to be at a 9 p.m. time frame or something, but no, we'll get it at effing midnight. No. F my life.
Yeah. So what do you think, David, of the trailer?
Oh, I think the trailer looks great. Like, I say that with a bit of skepticism in general, just because of, Obi-Wan, I think, looked great from what I remember. I'm pretty sure my reaction to those trailers was like, this looks great, and then it was not. And so far this season of The Mandalorian has been not great, in my opinion. And Boba Fett was not good. So with that said, Ahsoka, this seems to be Filoni's baby, this whole thing. And I have hope that this will not be Obi-Wan or not be the Book of Boba Fett. I do feel pretty confident that it will not be that quality of show. But I think it looks really good. I need to watch Rebels. And I feel confident you don't need to watch Rebels to watch this. But with that said, I'd like to watch Rebels before. And I mean, I have time. I think I can knock Rebels out before August.
Yeah.
I've been watching Clone Wars still, but I'll probably jump off that ship and just watch Rebels now, and then I'll go back to Clone Wars or something. I don't know, but no, I think it looks really good. That's kind of my quick opinion on that. Michelle, what do you think?
No, I think it looks quite good. I mean, I'm wearing my little Ahsoka shirt tonight. Hey. Thanks, her universe. No, so I think it looks really great. And I'm with David. I thought Obi-Wan looked really great when I saw that trailer. I was very excited. And then Obi-Wan was not great. So I guess for the show, my hopes are that the show is going to be at least Mandalorian level of quality. And I say that, and season 3 has not impressed me at all. But I'm hoping it's at least that quality, if not better. I don't think we're going to get quite Andor level of quality of show, but I think we're going to see some good stuff. At worst, I think we're going to get is an Obi-Wan level. I don't think it's going to be as bad as Book of Boba Fett. I'm really hoping it's not going to be as bad as Book of Boba Fett. So I think at worst, it's going to be an Obi-Wan level of show. Which is sad and depressing because, like David said, this is Filoni's big baby. I mean, like, he loves this character a lot. Like, I think he wore a different Ahsoka shirt. Yeah, I think he wore a different Ahsoka shirt every day for the weekend at Celebration. Like, each day was a different one. But it was Ahsoka. So I feel like, he's pouring himself into this project. I know Rosario Dawson has really given her all for this character. I'm really hopeful it's good. That's really all I could say. It looks great. I'm hoping it's great. I want a great show for this character.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm curious about these Dark Force users, but they have orange lightsabers, and I mean, I saw an image that I guess we weren't supposed to see that came from the stuff they showed the audience that didn't go to the public. And this dude looks like he's in medieval armor. I mean, there's so many questions where do these guys come from?
What's that about?
I mean, even the shots of, I forget the character's name. Is it Balin or something? The guy with the beard with the orange lightsaber. I mean, he's got these.
He's all in black.
He's got these shoulder pauldrons that look very old. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm excited. I think it looks good.
I think it looks good.
I'm very excited for it. Like Michelle said, Filoni doing it is his baby, and I think that we're going to have a good show. And I mean, for all he has to sort of knock it out of the park in a way. Just because it is his thing, and of course, it's I can't imagine. At this point, there's not many in the fan base that don't sort of worship at the feet of Filoni in much the same way that a lot of people always did for Kevin Feige. So it would be a bad, sad day if the fan base turned on Filoni, if he turned in something that was not to their level of expectation. So, and plus, obviously, with the movie coming. So I got my fingers crossed, but I do think that this will be one that maybe the fan base can get behind like they did the first season of The Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
Well, I think that was pretty much the big stuff that happened at Celebration, unless there was something else I missed, David. No,
I think that's really...
No, they said they were in the middle of shooting Andor. They didn't have anything they didn't bring anything from that, any shots of anything, but they said they were right smack in the middle of shooting Andor. And they had pretty much everybody from Andor coming in for that. So season 2 of Andor, final season of Andor, I should say.
Yep.
They're at it.
I will say, with one episode left to go in the season of Mandalorian, what do you think we'll get next week with that last episode? What do you think we'll see?
I mean, well, Michelle, you haven't even watched it yet, right? You
did not watch yesterday's episode, no. I'm caught up to yesterday's episode, but I did not watch yesterday's episode.
So without spoiling anything.
At this point, go for it. I mean,
I don't
I'm
want to
not
spoil
that
anything anyway for the audience. I don't want to talk spoilers. But what do I think we're gonna get? Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
because like I say that in the sense that I do feel like this show has a, for better or worse, and I would say mostly it's been for better, pull out all the stops with their final episodes or whatever. And so, the last thing you would have thought of appearing last season was Luke. And so it's like, what do you think in terms of like that kind of level of surprise that could happen for the last episode?
I mean, I was half thinking, but I guess now I have reasons to think this would not happen, and maybe it's been explicitly said that this will not happen. So tell me if it has been. That would they go ahead and show Thrawn in this last episode, even though he's gonna be Ahsoka? I guess the reason now I kind of don't think that's the case is because I think this last episode, episode 7, was the only one that Dave Filoni was like a co-writer on, and I don't think he co-wrote this last episode. I think it's just Favreau, like the rest of the season. So maybe not. I don't know if we'll get some big like big surprise or reveal. I will say, without spoiling anything about the last episode, that I would imagine that this season will end on an episode that feels like an ending to the season, but at the same time, it feels like there would be so much to do. Like, will this season end on like more of a kind of cliffhanger where we're just like going right into the next season? Like, you know what I mean? Like
kind of like the way the first season did.
I guess, yeah, but
because the first season kind of ended that way, which led into the second season. The second season really tied everything up into a nice little bow,
right?
And kind of concluded that.
I guess I'm having a hard time
segment.
remembering how the first season ended, but. It does seem like there would be a lot to happen in the last episode for it to be like, yep, this is all done now. Like,
well, and they've definitely been known to rush the last episode as well. Like, they pack almost too much into the last episode to a point that it's like, you could have done 2 episodes. They seem to rush it and cram it in, and
yeah, I mean, if we weren't short on time, we could discuss
a lot
how this whole season has played out for quite a while. Unfortunately, I don't think we can do that. But I'm with you.
We just don't have time for it.
I would say that I do think that something will happen. That they love to give fan service, and so I have no doubt that someone will show up. I just don't know who.
De-aged Han Solo and Chewbacca are gonna.
I hope they don't do that.
I know.
I would say that it would not surprise me if Boba Fett kind of showed up out of nowhere, sort of thing. Just because,
for no reason whatsoever. Yeah.
Like a younger Snoke or something, like a normal looking Snoke.
Well, I mean, you could go that route too.
Human form of Snoke.
Do you think Luke would show up again? I don't think so.
I don't think so. But, I mean, I've heard all these rumors that he's going to have like a big part in Ahsoka, which I'm skeptical about that, but.
That's possible.
I think it's possible.
And I could easily see him.
I could see him having
in the movie.
Exactly. I think if anything, he would have a pretty big part in the film.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Especially if they really go the whole like era of the Empire book storyline. I could see that being the case, but I don't think so much in Ahsoka. I know now I'm taking us off topic, but
no. But yeah, I it's hard to guess, but I do feel like somebody and something big will happen in terms of a fan service thing. But yeah, we don't have that much time to wait to see that. Less than a week, so. And with that, move over very briefly into the world of Marvel. We got a first look at a teaser trailer for the movie. Is it The Marvels or just Marvels?
I think it's I think it's the Marvels.
I would think
I
so.
thought it was the Marvels.
Yeah. Which
It's the
uh,
Marvels.
okay, it's the Marvels, which has returning characters. Well, actually, making their big screen debut would be Kamala Khan as Miss Marvel and Photon Monica Rambeau, and then the returning Carol Danvers as um, Captain Marvel. So yeah, it's a quick teaser. Well, it wasn't super quick, but they don't give you a lot in terms of the overall story, other than the fact that you see that whenever they use their powers, they switch places with each other. And I saw the trailer. I liked it. I thought it looks fun in a good sense of the word, and like it could be, not fun in the way that like a I don't know. I can't really think of a comparison, a good comparison, but I'm thinking in terms of like the fun that a lot of people like from something such as Ragnarok. Now, me personally, I have my issues with Ragnarok, but I think that it feels like it could maybe have that kind of a nature to it where people will enjoy the comedy of what happens in this movie, similar in the way that they enjoyed it to Ragnarok, and not be something that's the comedy that they've had of late, sort of in the MCU that people have sort of turned their nose down at. So I'm thinking it's more on the former side than the latter. But what did you think, Michelle? Did you like the trailer, or did you think it was?
No, I think it looks like you said. I think it looks like it's a lot of fun. I don't think it's going to be a great film, unfortunately. I would hope it would be good. It would be really good, but I think my trepidation towards it is because these are characters and a section of Marvel that I don't think gets quite the love and care and attention that it probably deserves. I think people are like, yeah, we're just doing it because we're kind of going through the motions in a way. And so that makes me sad because I really like Captain Marvel a lot. And yeah, I'm just going to go with, I think it looks fun. I hope for the best. I do.
Well, I think it looks good. I think,
Yeah.
if anything, for Marvel lately, which Marvel lately has not been thrilling me, this probably looks like one of the better things I've seen in a while. So
You're about to write Marvel off.
almost. No, not really. But no, I mean, I think this looks like it could be fun. But you mentioned Ragnarok. Ragnarok. Even if I can rewatch Ragnarok now, I'm probably like a little more than I used to. That's also, I still feel like a different kind of humor and fun than this is going to be. I don't know. This looks like it could be solid, and I like Captain Marvel. Even if I liked that movie, the first Captain Marvel movie, even if I didn't love it, and feel like it gets a lot of hate. I feel like this character gets a lot of hate for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
A lot of it.
a lot, and
A lot, and I don't understand it.
I don't understand
I
it either.
understand it, but it's. I think it's unfounded. I think most of the hate. I think 90% of the hate comes because of Brie Larson,
Right.
and because of her ideas and thoughts that she has outside of anything that she does in the movies. And so she carries that with her in the sense of that's what people see, and they will just attack that character based on Brie Larson playing that character. Because Carol in the comics and Captain Marvel in the comics is very beloved, and so it was never a thing with the character itself. But yeah, I think it's because of Brie Larson, and so that's where a lot of that comes from.
But I thought the trailer was solid. I watched it a few times, to be honest. I thought it looked really good.
Yeah, I think what should be interesting about it is, again, sort of like what we were just talking about with the Filoni movie, is that general audiences now, if they have not watched Miss Marvel and they didn't watch WandaVision, they've got two new characters to pretty much introduce to a lot
Yeah.
of people.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how they weave that in within the frames of the movie, to be able to tell people these are who these two characters are if you did not watch these two series. So, but for people who did, it should be very rewarding to have already know who these characters are, and see them on screen. So yeah, I do think it looks fun, and I for what I can tell, it looks like, and fingers crossed, that they might have a good slate in terms of the rest of this year, with them coming out with Guardians here in a few weeks, Secret Invasion, and then finishing out the year with the Marvels.
Actually, that was going to be my question real quick. So is this like pre-Secret Invasion in the timeline or post-Secret Invasion in the timeline?
I mean, it's falling after, so I would assume.
Yeah,
it's after.
in literal
Okay.
terms it is, but it's hard to tell because I would have to look back at an original slate before things slipped and slided
Right.
all over the place to know if it was always supposed to come out after Secret Invasion. I can't remember if that's the case.
I was just kind of
So,
curious, just with Nick
yeah.
Fury and everything.
Oh, I'm curious too. I never did look that up, so I'm not quite sure. But you would hope that if the events of Secret Invasion happen after this movie, that will somehow be addressed one way or the other, either in Secret Invasion or this. But I would hope that whatever way it shakes out, that we're following the order in which these things happen. Secret Invasion happens,
Right.
and then we get the Marvels. But in another sense, it's kind of like, if you've seen the Secret Invasion trailer, it ends with Fury saying something like "one last fight." Well, maybe not, since you're in, in the Marvels.
Since you're in the
I
Marvels,
guess you're not dying.
You're clearly in
So,
that one. Yeah.
I mean, unless he's a scroll. So I don't know.
Or there's that.
What to take from that, in terms
Right.
of
Right.
that. But outside of that, yeah, I would hope that it does follow in the way that we're getting.
Yeah, if it falls out of order, like at first of all, I will say I think that's a terrible decision, and then I really hope they find a really good reason, creative way to explain it to audiences, because I think that's just going to get confusing
Right.
to people.
Yeah, for sure.
I was just curious. Anywho,
Yeah, with that, I think we can get into our movie review for Air. So, this movie had been talked about quite a bit. I think it premiered at I want to say South by maybe or something, and it had got a lot of maybe I can't remember where, but I know it premiered somewhere where it got a lot of general audience people watching it. It got good feedback, and then the critics had saw it, and so that they were giving good feedback. And to me, this movie was something that I just would have wanted to see in general, because you got Ben Affleck and Matt Damon together again. And the last one that they did together was the one with Jodie Comer, where she accuses Adam Brody, not Adam Brody. Help me out here.
Sorry, I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah, sorry.
Wow, you guys don't know what movie I'm talking
I
about?
have
The medieval movie?
no-
Oh, that one.
Oh.
Oh. Sorry, you said Adam, bro. I'm like, who?
I couldn't think of his name. I'm trying to think of his name. I can't.
Was it like, man, I don't remember.
But his name.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name that I'm trying to think of? Ben Solo. I cannot think of his name.
Oh, man. Now
Adam
you're-
Driver.
Yes.
Adam Driver. Thank you.
Thinking my brain.
I'm trying to think of the title of the.
mine was too.
I'm trying to think of the title of the film.
That was I figured I
Oh,
wasn't going to
man.
remember that, but me not remembering it, Adam Driver was driving me crazy driving. Yeah, so that was the last time the two of them had been together, and I really liked that movie, even though it seemed like it got slept on. A lot of people didn't really watch it when it came out.
Right.
Right.
Going with
But
the last
yeah,
duel.
The Last
the
Duel.
last duel.
Yeah, I
Thank
like
you,
that one.
thank you.
My
Yeah.
goodness. It's like I almost kind of forgot that Ben Affleck was in that film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Honestly.
easy
Anyways.
to think that, but
Whew. Jeez.
so this movie coming out, and then it just had a lot of people that I kept figuring out, like, oh, okay, they're in it, like Jason Bateman, and then oh, they're in it, Chris Tucker, oh, Marlon Wayans is in it,
Mhm.
and Viola Davis is in it, so it has this great cast, and part of me was like, I don't know. Can this really be as good as people are saying? Just because is it because of the cast or whatever? And I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch any of the interviews with any of them, but the way they all sort of described the set, it seems like it was very relaxed, and that Ben has a great sense of having to be able to direct actors and just being able to have a loose set, and the way he goes about with his company and having equity with the actors that are in it and everything seems really cool. So the movie itself, which is about how Michael Jordan ends up signing with Nike, and we get the Air Jordans, the first pair of Air Jordans. And I gotta say, I really had a good time with this movie, and I think the performances were great, and I really felt like I didn't know a lot of how hard it was to get Jordan to be with the shoes. I didn't know that much of it in terms of really to the level of which he was opposed to Nike at that time. I had no idea. I just figured, oh, it was business as usual. They were probably able to get him after some negotiations, and he just signed on the dotted line. But yeah, obviously it was a little bit more complex than that. But I thought they did such a great, and for you to not even have Michael Jordan, quote unquote, really in it, you just see sort of glimpses of him from the back or from the sort of a side back profile. They do really a good job of not making you miss him because there's so much else going on, and also how strong Viola Davis is in the movie as his mom, that you are just really engrossed into will he sign? Will he act? And knowing in the back of your head, yeah, he signs because there's Jordans. But at the time when you're watching the movie, you're still really like, well, how does it end up happening? Because you just don't know. And I
Like, what
really
tips
just
the
thoroughly enjoyed
scale?
it. I would say, what's that,
I
Michelle?
was just saying it's a very
Yeah,
like
yeah,
what tips
exactly.
the scale?
And
What does it for him?
yeah, yeah. And I would say the only thing I would criticize, even though I liked every single needle drop that they did, there was a lot of needle drops in this
Mhm.
movie. But outside of that, yeah, no complaints here. I really enjoyed Air quite a bit. So Michelle, what'd you think?
Oh. Um I actually really enjoyed it as well. I thought the writing was very good. And I enjoyed really just the movie for just so many reasons. The aesthetic, I thought they developed a great set there, and they really made it they really made you feel like you were back in 1980 something. And no, sorry, I'm at kind of lost for words right now. I thought that the sorry, I don't know. It was good. I liked it a lot.
Now I'm thrown off. I yeah, I thought the movie was very good. I basically agree with everything you guys have said about this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I guess to backtrack really quick, you had asked, like, yeah, it premiered at South by Southwest. this was actually originally supposed to be like a streaming only on Amazon Prime Video, and then Amazon decided to release it theatrically. But anyway, neither here nor there. I really enjoyed the film for all the reason you guys have already said. Great performances. I did not, like you said, Bobby, to know a lot of the details about what was going on with like how hard it was to get him to sign with Nike. I had no clue. It's not anything I had ever like looked into or knew the history behind the creation of his first shoe and all that jazz. I was not aware. So from a like documentary kind of perspective, it was an interesting watch. The performances are great. It's great writing in this movie. All I will say is that, you know, I went into it with pretty high expectations. Expectations are always a thing. I've heard a ton of pretty high praise for this movie. It's definitely not my favorite Ben Affleck film. I think he has done a good job in the past. Like I think of Argo, where Argo, yes, I knew how Argo was going to end, but at the same time, I think he does such a fantastic job of still like building that tension of that ending of like, oh my God, are they going to get out? and making it feel so amazing when they do. And then here, yes, we know he's going to sign with Nike. But there was something about the ending of this film, and I know we're not talking spoilers, but I mean, he signs with Nike, by the way. There's something about, I think, the way this film ends that, you know, it feels a little like, okay, we did it. Like it doesn't quite have like the, like, I don't know. It feels like the ending feels like it's missing a little something. And again, I'm not saying I would have the amazing answer, some miraculous answer on how to end a film that we already know the ending to in a way that makes you go, oh my God, I can't believe they finally signed him. Like, but I don't know. With that said, I thoroughly enjoyed the film. I feel bad that, Michelle, you missed like the first 10 minutes of this movie. So I know that probably affected, you know, like, I mean, I say affected your opinion, but I know you thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was good.
Yeah. I like how in the beginning too that they show so many 80s things. And it's like, oh, I remember that. I remember that. I remember that. It's just
Right.
like, oh, that's so funny how like they capture a lot of that spirit. And Michelle had sort of mentioned, you know, because it's in the 80s. So it does a good job of capturing that. And I gotta say, while I didn't necessarily bump up on how it ended in that sense that you mentioned, David, I do feel like um even though it's not intended to be, it feels very much like Nike could use this as part of
Oh
their
yeah.
promotional campaign. Because I literally left the theater wanting to go to Foot Locker and buy some Jordans, and I don't I haven't had Jordans
Yeah.
since I was like in high school, and so it made me want to go out and buy Jordans. I was like, I don't know if Nike sales for Jordans will go up after this movie, but
I mean, they're already
yeah, it
crazy,
definitely
but
makes you
I
want
would
them.
imagine
Yeah,
it's just going to get crazier with people that watch this. Like, yeah, I'm with you.
exactly. Yeah. But solid movie, solid movie.
Yeah.
And like you said, David, I think there was a lot of people I saw saying and proclaiming this as their as the best movie of the year and Oscar possibilities and stuff like that. And while I like it a lot,
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time picturing it being in that rarefied air in the sense of, no pun intended, that it would be there. I don't know. I don't know what's missing in that stew of what would make this an Oscar nominated film for me, but there is something missing there. I don't know what it is, but I don't think that it will get to that level. It could. It very well might, with there being a possibility of 10 movies. So it just seems like it sort of falls just slightly underneath of where that might be to me in terms of
Mm-hmm.
where it could actually have gotten a best picture nomination.
Yeah, no, part of me was like at first like, oh, why are they releasing this at this time of year? It seems like from what I'm hearing, the reaction and everything, like, man, why did they not release this in like November or something, like closer to award season? But now that I've seen it, again, I very much enjoyed it, but I kind of see why it wasn't released near award season. I would be shocked if this were in my top 10. But I don't know. That's kind of where I am. Michelle, you think there's any chance it'd be in your top 10? What do you think?
I don't know. I'd have to just see how it goes this year.
Yeah, I would say we have to see how it goes this year for sure. But right now, based on what we've already had so far, I could see it being in there somewhere. Yeah,
Right.
based on what I've seen so far this year.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I doubt it would. Based on what I've seen so far this year, sure, but I doubt it would make my top 10.
Yeah, by the time we get to
Yeah.
everything at the Mad Rush at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much it. Unless you have anything else that you want to talk about, David. Michelle?
No, I think we're going to wrap it up. As always, we would love to hear back from everyone watching here on YouTube or listening to the show. If you're watching on YouTube, you can leave any questions or comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon to be notified whenever we go live or post any videos in the future. You can also reach out to us on Instagram and Twitter at Flickr_effect. With that, I'm David Lott.
Bobby Jackson.
Michelle Hillard.
Thanks for listening and watching, everybody.